Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Iron Man 3, starring Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, Don Cheadle, Rebecca Hall, Stephanie Stilzak, forgive me if I said that wrong, Guy Pearce, Ty Simpkins, Jon Favreau, and Ben Kingsley, and directed by Shane Black. This is the guy I know from Lethal Weapon when he wrote that movie, and I didn't know he was a director, to be clear, until Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. But let's get into this movie. In Switzerland in the year 1999, to end the decade, on New Year's Eve, Tony Stark creates his own demons with Maya Hansen, played by Rebecca Hall, and Aldrich Killian, played by Guy Pearce, who, after Prometheus, is still putting on that god-awful makeup job, and this time it's worse. I also don't like Maya in this movie, and it's not against Rebecca Hall, and I reviewed her before in The Prestige, but the character was a little flat to me. I like the scene when Tony puts on the Mark 42 or 43, something like that, while putting on Jingle Bells on the soundtrack. Now, to be fair, it was Christmas time, but I thought it was funny the way the suit felt like his minions. A terrorist attacker called the Mandarin, for now, played by Ben Kingsley, is a character I can't wait to talk about later in the show, because I'm so pissed about what they do to him when we get to the middle, because not only do I have questions, but I also have big problems with it as well. When he considers himself a teacher, I was like, give me a freaking break. Rhodey changing his name from War Machine to Iron Patriot, painting red, white, and blue on the suit, I thought, how much more problematic can this script get? And this suit looks a little stale to me. Happy Hogan, aka Mr. Head of Security, returned by Jon Favreau, is gladly knocked out for the rest of the movie because he was annoying me half to death, and Tony this time, like the Avengers, was just an okay character. He didn't bug me as badly as he did in Avengers, but I was amazed at the end of this movie, which I'll talk about later. Pepper Potts was just a hateful character. She really stinks up the movie really bad, and thank God Aldrich Killian isn't wearing that awful makeup like he did when we first see him. But he still annoyed me throughout the movie. I also really didn't like Pepper in here, and as I didn't make that obvious earlier. What the hell is it with the red faces on that that the Mandarin creates for people? And they look a lot like a volcano fire, which did annoy the holy shit out of me. Like, they kind of explained it later in the movie, which I don't think it's going to make sense at the time. Tony calls for the Mandarin and goes to go to him so Tony can get him dead. And for what he did to Happy, now my problem is, with the sequence, when Tony's house is getting blown up, there was no way in freaking hell that he was going to make it. Even in that Iron Man suit. Pepper wearing the suit briefly when the attack is going on is so ridiculously bad looking. Tony lands in Tennessee and meets up with Harley Keener, well, for the first time, played by Ty Simpkins, which welcome back from Insidious 1 and 2, which the sequence annoyed the hell out of me. Like, do we really need that kid in these scenes in Tennessee in the first place? That's where you get me. We are led to believe that Aldrich Killian is working for the Mandarin, which doesn't fool me, and I'll talk about it later. Tony is having himself some flashbacks of the events of the Avengers when he's in the wormhole in New York. Like, did we really need those sequences again? I mean, really? Tony gets into a fight with Brant, and played by, and please forgive me if I say this wrong, Stephanie Szostak, who I've seen after this movie. She did R.I.P.D., unfortunately. Her acting doesn't get any better here or in R.I.P.D. I've never seen her in a movie again, and I don't want to either, in my opinion. We get Tony watching clips of Killian turning people into the fire-breathing dragons that they are and explodes, and the way Killian explains it, it makes no sense to me. Tony gets captured by Killian's men. The way the plot sounds is a lot like a movie I'm going to get to later this summer, The Incredibles, which, with the fan of a celebrity, and the celebrity treats him poorly, and years later, the fan captures the celebrity and becomes a supervillain. It's the Incredibles cliche, I should add that. You know Ben Kingsley, who is supposed to be the Mandarin? Wrong answer. The character's name is Trevor, who's an actor. Ugh. That pissed me off. What also pisses me off is Killian is the freaking Mandarin. Which, can I just say, none of this is making sense to me. Not whatsoever. I've been picking bad out of this movie, but what I do like is that scene when the plane blows up the president's men and gets caught by Iron Man, and he drops them in the water after the president gets captured, and that scene was a lot of fun. I thought when Tony can't hit the glass and Rhodey hits it with his gun, well, not hits it physically, but fires the gun, I thought that was funny. Tony in his Iron Man suits versus Killian and his men was a ridiculous way to end the final fight between Stark and Killian, aka the Mandarin, and Pepper falls down to her death, and I thought, who cares? I'm sorry, guys, but I don't. At this point, until she became alive, which I hated half to death. Then suddenly Tony blows up his Iron Man suits and gives up his alter ego and says, as the movie ends, I am Iron Man. And that was when I really questioned how is this going to end up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for him. Like, he really should have not blown up his Iron Man suits in the first place. The after credits scene where Bruce Banner is playing psychology with Tony, and he doesn't have the temperament, and that felt very pointless of an after credits scene in my opinion. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 5.6 out of 10. This is the weakest Iron Man film to date, and let's make sure Marvel doesn't make Iron Man starring movies anymore. Just let him be the side character like he is in the coming up movies. But it could have been a lot worse, or maybe it will get worse, which I'll discuss in a sec. I'll be back next week with Thor: The Dark World, and then before I say goodbye, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to subscribe, watch some more videos, and please leave a positive comment in the bottom. And until next time, Avengers Assemble!